Hello and welcome to Progressive Education Society's Modern College of Pharmacy, Nigri, Pune.
Dr. Bhushan Pimpri. There will be a series of videos wherein we will be covering the implementation of pharmacovigilance systems for herbal medicine as per the WHO guidelines on safety monitoring of herbal medicines in pharmacovigilance. We have seen the contents of this guideline, and we have also been through the general introduction and pharmacovigilance and what the WHO International Drug Monitoring Program in the earlier video, that is part 1. Whereas in this part 2, we will be specifically focusing on the third point, that is challenges in monitoring the safety of herbal medicine. The challenges, the first and the foremost thing is regulation, quality assurance, and control. As far as regulations are concerned, they vary from country to country. That means these are simple rules or the guidelines used for a particular guidelines for the use of particular medicine. Certain medicines are categorized as banned drugs in some countries, whereas in other countries they may be categorized as prescription only medicine, whereas in certain countries they may be categorized as OTC medicine. This varies from country to country. When the regulations come into picture, the problem is certain, as we have seen, certain drugs are prescription medicine. Suppose a same drug can be called as a prescription medicine. In other country, it can be categorized into non-prescription medicine, and in certain countries it can be used as a nutraceutical or in day-to-day diet, that is other than as medicine. So it can be helpful as a nutraceutical or in a day-to-day diet as well. National regulatory framework, which includes qualified providers. The herbal medicine should be distributed by qualified providers, like suppose in India, if you consider synthetic medicine, we require B pharmacy or D pharmacy as a qualification for providing these medicines, synthetic medicines. And distribution of respective substances, like so suppose if you want to give out a herbal drug, there is a need in certain countries that you need to qualify the degree or diploma in the herbal medicines in order to distribute the herbal medicines in those countries, especially the European countries. Regulatory status determines the access to or distribution route of these products. That means whether there are certain rules which determine whether a person can directly go and consume that drug, or he has to go through a proper channel, that is he needs a prescription from a qualified practitioner, and then he may be going to a medicinal shop and then taking the goods or the herbal medicines for his consumption. So these regulatory status, the rules are different in different countries, and also they vary for a same product in different countries. Like we will take an example, if a trade is made between countries where different regulatory status is given, a reclassification of the regulatory status in the importing country depends not on the nature or characteristic but on the regulatory framework of the importing country. Suppose we'll take an example of marijuana. Nowadays marijuana is somewhat legalized in USA, but if you import it in India, then marijuana is banned in India, or you cannot sell it directly in the open market. So the since the regulations have the regulatory framework is varying from country to country, the reclassification of the drug, which was earlier classified as a prescriptional medicine or so, now here in the another country, like for in India, the marijuana will be classified as NDPC drug. So this reclassification is a major challenge in the monitoring of safety of herbal medicines. Another issue with these regulations is that the herbal products, these are categorized as medicines other than medicine and food. Now, such kind of category is becoming increasingly popular, like for example, nutraceuticals or health supplements, and there is a potential for adverse reaction because of lack of regulations over the herbal medicine. Currently, almost 80% of the countries, they do not have a proper framework for production, distribution and consumption of or sales of herbal medicine. Now, due to lack of regulations or even due to weaker quality control systems, like in India, if you go and buy suppose Raulfia roots, you will get it in the market. Now these Raulfia roots are not tested for any quality control parameter, like for example test for aflatoxin, test for heavy metals, or test for a certain microbial assay and all is not performed, and you directly get it. Even at the roadside market, you will find the certain crude drugs are sold, or sometimes extracts and oils are sold, and there is no proper quality control over these products. Also, the loose distribution channel adds to this nuisance. Like for increase in mail order, you can get the herbal drugs by ordering through internet or through post, or even from various TV channels. They claim that their herbal product increases the height, increases the weight, or so on, and they sell the product only through the internet or only through postal orders, and they do not have their own distributing sales shop, or um, they do not sell their product in malls or shops. So now these products are heavily contaminated, can be heavily contaminated with certain aflatoxins and all. So the problems related to that is not dealt in certain underdeveloped or even developing countries, or even I will say developed countries have not designed proper regulations for this. Like so suppose many a times celebrities are involved in the sales of herbal medicines. Now these herbal medicines include certain erectile oils for massage, oil for erectile dysfunction, and then certain uh, spices and condiments. They also have herbal drugs. They have major proportion of herbal drugs in them. Now these spices and condiments are never tested for the heavy metals or aflatoxins or other proper test protocols designed by WHO, and these are routinely sold in the market, and the volume of sales is extremely high compared to normal sales of herbal medicine, masala products, or sometimes tea. Some teas are also claiming to show a glow over the skin. That means they make the skin fairer or glowy, impart a sheen or hydrate the skin. Such kind of, so sometimes false claims are also accompanied during the sales of the product. Now these taglines, they fetch the audiences, and they fetch the consumers. National regulatory information is not fully shared amongst national regulatory authorities. Like the information of regulation, whether which drug is contraband, which drug can be sold, which drug can be stored at a particular quantity, such kind of information is not fully shared amongst national regulatory authorities. And even if it is not shared between national regulatory authorities and national safety monitoring or pharmacovigilance centers, so there is not proper availability of the document as to which the information is written and which documents should be followed. We will take a very simple example. Suppose if you look at paracetamol, it is officially present in most of the pharmacopoeias. So if you want to test paracetamol, you can refer any of the pharmacopoeia. But what about a particular spice or condiments? Nowadays, certain pharmacopoeias have listed few of the herbal drugs, but most of the herbal drugs are eliminated even today from the herbal mono or pharmacopoeias. New medicines, generally when they are introduced into the market, they are introduced as prescription medicine. But over the period of time, these medicines will subsequently be reclassified as non-prescription medicine. And this problem becomes a major source for self-medication. So initially when they are in the market, they require a prescription. Later on, due to certain technical flaws in the rules or guidelines, they have been reclassified into non-prescription medicine. Now, the person who is consuming it, previously he was consuming with the help of a prescription. Now he is free to consume because because he does not require prescription, and the rise in self-medication increases. In many countries, most of the herbal products enter directly into the non-prescription medicinal category. Like in India, we do not have the prescriptional category, or herbal drugs are not falling under prescription medicine in India, except one or two. But most of the herbal drugs, they are directly classified as non-prescription medicines. Now what happens is, due to this, monitoring over the sales or distribution of herbal medicine becomes a difficult task. So this becomes a major challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicines. Now another major challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicines is quality assurance and quality control measures. Generally, national quality specification and standards designed for even GMP or labeling and even licensing scheme for manufacturing or import and marketing, it should be in place in every country. Most of the countries do not have these quality specifications for herbal medicine. They do not have a proper GMP plant guidelines or GMP guidelines for the plant or even labeling of herbal medicines or licensing scheme. Anybody, even in India, you can sell the herbal medicine. The herbal crude drugs can be sold in the open market without licenses. Even many a times you will find the herbal drugs are not even packed. They are directly bundled and sold into the open market in the retail market. Many a times, even if the label is present, but the label will not clearly mention the biological source or family or the part of the plant. It just says, for example, ashwagandha churna, or you can find shatavari kalp very oftenly in the retail market. Shatavari powder is also sold in the open market. Now these powders, if you look at the label, most of the products, they do not have a proper labeling guidelines. They even the manufacturing date or the quality, what all different tests have been performed, is not at all mentioned on most of the labels. And if you find any mela or some fun fair, you will find certain cosmetic products which are sold without any label and just in the pack of 50 gram, 100 gram, without the label of the manufacturer. So this is very major problematic case, or you can say challenge, in front of as far as monitoring of the safety of herbal medicines are concerned. Weak regulations and quality control, this add up to the mess. Like high incidence of adverse reactions are observed, generally due to cosmetic products, wherein the cosmetic products are sold in the open market without the label, and these cosmetic products have shown proven to cause certain allergenic reaction or rash or dermatitis in patients, and the patient is unable to report towards the consumer forum or any code, because he does not have a proper receipt of the product, he does not have the proper label of the product, he does not knows who is the manufacturer, where is the plant located, nothing on the bottle. High incidences of these adverse reactions are attributing to the poor quality of the herbal medicine. Now, since there is a demand in the herbal cosmetics, any person is getting involved in the manufacturing and distribution or sales of herbal cosmetics, because he is just openly accessing to the YouTube channels, and accordingly he is formulating the herbal cosmetics at home or in an area which is not suitable for manufacturing, and then selling into the open market. Besides this, adulteration with undeclared potent substances and or contaminated with hazardous substances and residues. Adulteration is also oftenly seen in these products, wherein even the contamination is also seen many a times. The herbal products, if it is containing certain water material, aqueous part into it, you can find fungal growth over the herbal products. And as far as Asian market is concerned, you can find range of different herbal products either in the form of cosmetics or for internal consumptions like pickles or spices, or sometimes the flavored powder products or health drinks. Now these prove to be hazardous due to the presence of heavy metals and microbial residues. There is a need for development of methods for quality control of finished herbal product. If you look at any herbal product and there is no proper development of monograph, you cannot design a detailed analytical parameter or tool for polyherbal formulation or multi-herbal formulation, because what at the max you can do is report HPLC or HPTLC. If you just look at curcuma longa powder, there are range of different curcumin contents in the curcuma longa powder, turmeric powder. Now, if the same turmeric powder is added into the cosmetics, you can at the max perform HPTLC for the presence of curcumin, dimethoxycurcumin and bis dimethoxycurcumin. But what are the other excipients or other chemicals present in the product, you are unsure about it. So as far as the quality control measures are concerned, only a particular marker is tested, and it is written as quality check or quality assurance certification is given only on the basis of presence of a particular marker. But the entire finished product or the product, whatever are the other components in the product, are not tested as such, especially herbal mixtures which are very complex for analysis. Then the quality product depends on the quality of raw material. If a person is engaged in formulation of, say, suppose Shatavari Churna, so many a times we have seen that Shatavari is a root, and many a times people can use the stems also as a powder, because they do, since they are not qualified personnel, they are unaware, intentionally or unintentionally, sometimes other part of the same plant is added into the churna. This has been very commonly observed in gulwel, that is Tinospora cordifolia. Gulwel churna is to be prepared with the use of only stems, but you can find leaves, stems, even roots in gulwel churna. And the product becomes of substandard quality because the raw material itself is of substandard quality. Then good agricultural and collection practices are not present in a particular country. So how to collect it, what are the various pesticides those are applied, fertilizers applied, or what are the various conditions in which the plant was cultivated, was not in practice, so the plant may contain certain heavy metals into that. So this is the major challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicine, because you are not sure from where the raw material is arriving. You are not even sure whether the finished product is containing a toxic element or not. We have seen the two major challenges. Those are regulations that vary from country to country, and second was quality control and quality assurance. This you cannot have a proper system for quality control and quality assurance as far as herbal medicines are concerned. So these are the two major. Besides that, one more major problem or challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicines is the pharmacopoeia itself. The national or regional pharmacopoeia, they are designed in various countries. The designing or the inclusion of certain herbals in their monograph, it depends from country to country, or it varies from country to country. Pharmacopoeias define quality specification and standard for a herbal medicine, herbal preparations, and such as essential oils and powdered herbal materials. These are the good source for quality control and quality assurance of herbal medicines. But the problem with her pharmacopoeia is that use and inclusion of herbal material as a monograph in these pharmacopoeia are completely based upon local availability of these products. That means in Indian pharmacopoeia, you will not be able to find the exotic herbs like St. John's wort and all. Those cannot be, their monograph cannot be found in Indian herbal pharmacopoeia or Indian pharmacopoeia. Now, if a company is engaged in importing the exotic herb and processing and distribution of that particular herb in India, for that country, Indian pharmacopoeia is of no use. Likewise, if you are exporting your traditional herbal medicines to European or American countries, their pharmacopoeia will not list Brahmi, Shankhapushpi and other herbal medicines. So, their USP or European pharmacopoeia will be of no use for them. Further, the availability of these herbal products depends on original medicinal plant, which has ecological and environmental specific habitat. That means the growth of shatavari is more in Indian subtropical climate compared to certain northern countries, so or European countries. So availability of this herb in their European pharmacopoeia becomes very difficult, because in Europe you will not be able to find shatavari that uh, uh, easily as compared to the subcontinental countries. Even if the same pharmacopoeial monograph name is given to the herbal material, the problem now arises that its listing in one pharmacopoeia may refer to a different original medicinal plant and or processing method from the defined in another. Like a same plant has two names. Like we will take an example of Brahmi. Brahmi, if you refer Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia, it says Bacopa moneri and Centella asiatica both. And if you refer certain herbal or Indian pharmacopoeia, you will find Brahmi as either of these. That means it is not clearly mentioning that Brahmi is only Centella asiatica or only Brahmi as Bacopa moneri. You can find this as a common name for both the herbs. Now this creates a confusion. Same is the case with licorice. Many a times licorice is considered as root. Now it varies. Licorice is the biological source involves roots, and now these roots can be peeled or unpeeled root. If it is unpeeled root, the amount of soil adhere to it, the acid insoluble ash will keep on increasing. Even the aflatoxins, the heavy metals, or the pesticidal residue will be maximum in unpeeled roots compared to peeled roots. So detail labeling or a detailed monograph of these herbs, it vary from pharmacopoeia to pharmacopoeia. Therefore, a proper steps should be taken, such as like herbal medicine should be covered by drug regulatory framework in order to ensure that they meet the required standards for safety, quality, and efficacy. So for that reason, a proper regulatory framework is to be ensured. Another challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicines are the providers of herbal medicines. From country to country, the providers of herbal medicines vary. Especially healthcare professionals, they serve as qualified providers. Like for example, BAMS doctor in India or BAMS person who has a qualified Ayurvedic degree or diploma, he can be selling the herbal medicine. But you can find in India itself, the herbal medicines are sold roadside by unqualified, illiterate people just based upon their experiences, or sometimes even the rural people, even they sell their medicine through their folklore knowledge or ethno-medicinal knowledge. According to country, the national healthcare delivery system and legislative framework varies. In certain countries where herbal medicines are used as prescription medicines, prescribers as well as the dispensers other than physicians or dentists and pharmacists are excluded from reporting of these adverse events from the occurring due to herbal medicine. That means only the rights are given to physicians, dentists, pharmacists for prescribing and dispensing of medication in certain countries. But if you look around, most of the countries who are depending upon herbal medicines, they do not have a proper guidelines for distribution of herbal medicine itself. Like say for suppose certain African countries or even underdeveloped countries, in many countries, herbal medicines are directly categorized as non-prescription medicines or products, as is the case in India. In India, you do not require any prescription to get the herbal medicines. Any person can become a well-established herbal uh, product seller. Providers of herbal medicine in this category are not normally physicians. Most of the time, physicians are not involved in providing the herbal medicines. Therefore, various other providers include the persons who have a traditional knowledge or involved in traditional and complementary medicines, or even alternative medicines like Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, homeopathy and all, or even community pharmacists and nurses, they become the providers of herbal medicine in this case. Therefore, proper action is to be taken in order to mitigate these challenges. Like providers of herbal medicines should play an important role in monitoring the safety of non-prescription of herbal medicine. That means whenever the provider is selling the drug to the consumer, he should notify the adverse effects, drug drug interaction, drug herb interaction to the patient. He should even ask the patient as to what are different therapies medicine, like so suppose allopathic medicine, if a person is consuming, there are likely possibilities that that herb drug interaction may occur, and it can be synergistic, it can even be opposing in activity, antagonistic activity. For providers of herbal medicines, it is very essential to create an atmosphere of trust, because in India also many a times the patient besides going directly to the physician, he instead of going directly to the physician, he visits the pharmacist first for cost cutting, or you can say saving certain fees of the physician. And in that case, the providers of herbal medicines should create an atmosphere of trust in order to enable the sharing of knowledge about the use and safety of these herbal medicine. Now, by this way, you can uh, meet the challenge. Then sometimes nurses are also becoming increasingly involved in this area. Nurses are very properly counseling the in-house patients, and they are giving the proper dosage regimen of the herbal medicines. By this way, you can accomplish the challenge in monitoring, at least one of the challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicine. Important challenge in monitoring the safety is the lack of proper knowledge of herbal medicines. Most of the time it has been observed that physicians, nurses and pharmacists, they have taken a formal training as far as the dosage or this, distribution of herbal medicines is concerned. But these people like physician, nurses or pharmacists are unaware about the patient whether he is consuming medicines of other systems of medicines. Like suppose if he is consuming allopathic medicine, these guys are unaware about it. Even they are unaware about whether he is taking any prescription or non-prescription drug. So their scope arises that these people, when they are in contact with the patient, they should get the information or history of the patient and get thorough information as to whether he is consuming any other or any medicine from any other pathy like allopathy or homeopathy and so. An appropriate knowledge base is also very important for the diagnosis and treatment as far as of the disease is concerned. So once a person is totally aware about the diagnosis, once the diagnosis is final, then the treatment can go in that direction. But most of the time it happens that the diagnosis is wrong. Many of the diseases remain improperly diagnosed, and a wrong kind of medication is prescribed to the patient if the patient is not visiting a qualified uh, provider of medicine. Even other healthcare professionals who are not the providers of herbal medicines are also likely to be poorly informed about these products and how they are being used. Most of the time we have seen that a person visits an allopathic doctor and a patient never reveals to the allopathic doctor that he is consuming certain herbal products or ayurvedic products because he is not sure whether how the allopathic physician will react. So most of the time the patients do not disclose the other medications what he is consuming, or sometimes the other diseases what he is suffering from. So due to that, this adds up to the monitoring of the safety. Then herbal medicines are used within many different healing traditions with different knowledge base. That means a same crude drug can be used for the treatment of diseases, a different disease in homeopathy and altogether a different disease in Ayurveda. So the diseases may vary, but the crude drug remains the same. So if a person is visiting Ayurvedic practitioner, he will prescribe, say, suppose ashwagandha for XYZ disease. And if the person is consuming ashwagandha formulations from homeopathy, this is just a hypothetical example, then the homeopathic person will assume that he is suffering from ABC kind of disease, so he will give the medication. So if a same person is visiting two different practitioners, there are likely possibilities that the treatment becomes complicated. Also, a question as to the suitability of the categories will vary. Traditional medicines are being used outside the confines of traditional culture and beyond traditional geographical areas without proper knowledge of their use. Like we'll take an example of a rare drug occur find in a certain geographical area, suppose northern part of northeastern part of India. And if you are consuming that product for just for the taste or for aroma in southern part of India, if you are taking that product out of that geographical area and selling it in southern part or any other part of the country, and there if it is being sold for altogether different purpose, then there are chances that toxicities may arise due to consumption of such drugs. Again, we will take a hypothetical example. So suppose Raoul Fia, if it has been consumed for or tea, suppose tea is consumed for just a CNS stimulant, but nowadays you can find tea is routinely sold on the roadside tea stalls, and the consumption is more. So there are likely possibilities that a person who is already suffering from insomnia, and if he keeps on consuming tea, then his insomnia will worsen, or certain diseases like ulceration or acidity. If a person is suffering from these diseases, tea will keep on worsening these diseases or disorders. So this is just a simple example to understand, but very similarly there are many certain herbal drugs which are originally used for the treatment of a particular disease, and it is nowadays getting gaining importance just for its nutritional product also. Like for example, the lotus seed popcorns are nowadays sold as makana, and previously those were used only in certain tribal region, and those were using it for as a source of nutrition, but nowadays it has been sold as weight loss agent or low calorie diet also. Sometimes the herbal drugs are used in different doses. In suppose homeopathy, the dose is way different, and in Ayurveda the dose is different. So if you are using a same drug, the doses vary. Similarly, the way of extraction in homeopathy is altogether different. It is based upon law of minimal, whereas in Ayurveda here you we extract it with various solvents like sometimes water or oil or ghee. So the phytoconstituents that enter depend upon the solvents used for extraction. So if the same drug is extracted with different solvents, there are likely possibilities that the toxicities vary by the way how you are consuming the drug. Most of the time it is understood that any churna, if it is boiled with water, it gives a good decoction. But there are likely possibilities that heat or thermolabile components are lost, and sometimes these thermolabile components themselves are beneficial for the treatment of diseases. So a person may not get the effect just because he is boiling a particular churn. Further, herb-drug interaction remains the concern. So, this is the major, that is the lack of proper knowledge amongst the distributor of herbal medicine, amongst the consumers of herbal medicine, becomes the major challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicines. The major challenge in monitoring the safety of herbal medicine remains like the patient's or consumer's attitude towards herbal medicine. Most of the time, it is a misconception that natural means safe. Many consumers believe that anything that is natural is does not carry any risk. Even patients do not mention the whether what kind of herbal medicines they are taking to their physicians. Even they are not mentioning the herbal drugs to the provider of herbal medicines or the providers of other medicines or synthetic medicines. In this case, healthcare professionals should routinely and persistently ask the patients what other medicines they are taking, including whether they are prescription medicines or whether they are herbal medicines, or even whether they are other than health products for self-care medication. Such kind of counseling should be done for the patient, or such kind of questionnaire should be designed for all the patients by not only the providers of herbal medicines but also by the providers of synthetic medicines. The major action required in order to mitigate this challenge is the education of healthcare professionals or even providers of herbal medicines and patients or consumers. This education is very important in order to prevent the herb drug interaction, in order to prevent the serious side effects or toxicities pertaining to a herbal drug, and preventing potentially serious risk from misuse of the herbal medicines. So these are the various challenges that are faced during monitoring the safety of herbal medicines, not only in developed countries but also in developing countries or underdeveloped countries.